We often see gold as the ultimate safe haven, a timeless symbol of wealth and security. But what happens when the systems we rely on truly break down? When the power grid fails and store shelves are empty, the true nature of value changes in an instant. Suddenly, the most precious things aren't what's locked in a vault, but what can solve a life or death problem right now. In a real disaster, practical function is the only currency that matters. An item's worth is no longer measured in dollars, but by its ability to provide warmth, clean water, light, or safety. We are about to reveal the 10 everyday items that become more valuable than gold when survival is on the line. What you learn next might change how you prepare for the unexpected. 1. Autonomous water purification and filtration capacity. The illusion of modern safety is nowhere more fragile than in our relationship with water. In a fully functioning society, water is an afterthought, an infinite resource summoned by the turn of a handle. However, when the intricate web of municipal pumps, chemical treatment plants, and electrical grids fails, that abundance vanishes within hours. When the taps run dry, the individuals who possess gold will quickly find that precious metals cannot hydrate a dehydration headache or sterilize a contaminated river. The single most valuable asset in a true grid-down scenario is not a stockpile of bottled water, which is heavy, finite, and impossible to conceal, but rather the autonomous capability to purify wild water indefinitely. This distinction between storage and filtration is what separates temporary survival from long-term sustainability. Possessing a high-quality gravity filter, a ceramic pump system, or a stockpile of chemical purification tablets effectively transforms you into a localized utility company. While your neighbors are risking their safety to scavenge for dwindling supplies of bottled water at chaotic distribution points, you have the ability to harvest rain, access local streams, or even utilize questionable urban water sources safely. This capability grants you total independence from failing infrastructure. The biological imperative of thirst respects no social boundaries. Within 3 days, a lack of water is fatal, but even within 24 hours, the cognitive decline and physical weakness caused by dehydration make all other survival tasks impossible. Therefore, the tool that prevents this decline becomes the ultimate form of wealth. Furthermore, water purification capacity is a renewable trade asset. If you have a filter rated for 10,000 gallons, you have 10,000 units of currency that you can dispense without ever depleting your core asset. You can barter clean liters for security, labor, or food, establishing a position of immense influence within your immediate community. In a crisis, the person who controls the water supply controls the environment. This is why seasoned preparedness experts prioritize filtration redundancy, having backup filters and spare parts, over almost any other gear. Gold sits in a safe and does nothing. A water filter actively keeps you alive and creates leverage every single day the crisis continues. The psychological comfort of knowing you can turn a murky pond into safe drinking water is worth more than any bank balance when the grocery store shelves are bare. 2. Decentralized microgrid power generation. We live in an era where information is as vital as calories, yet we often forget that the flow of information is entirely dependent on the flow of electrons. When the main power grid goes dark, whether due to a cyber attack, a natural disaster, or infrastructure collapse, the silence that follows is deafening. In this vacuum, the ability to generate and store your own electricity shifts from a camping convenience to a critical lifeline. We are not talking about powering a television or a dishwasher. We are talking about the micro-energy required to keep essential survival electronics operational. Communications gear, rechargeable flashlights, medical devices, and navigation tools are dead weight without a charge. In a blackout, the person with a functioning solar array or a kinetic energy system possesses the only bridge to the outside world. The value of portable power lies in its ability to maintain situational awareness. During a disaster, rumors spread panic, but a powered emergency radio provides facts about weather patterns, relief efforts, and danger zones. Being able to charge a smartphone, even if cell towers are down, allows you to access offline maps, survival manuals, and stored medical data that could save a life. This capability creates a massive asymmetry between those who are effectively blind and deaf to the world and those who can still gather intelligence. Moreover, modern security relies heavily on power. Being the only house on the block with motion sensor lights or charged night vision capability provides a tactical advantage that discourages looting and probing. From a community perspective, energy is a service that commands a high price. If you can charge a neighbor's nebulizer so their child can breathe, or power up a ham radio to send a message to relatives in another state, you are providing a service that people will pay dearly for. Unlike gasoline generators, which are loud, attract unwanted attention, and rely on finite fuel that will eventually disappear, solar and battery technology offers a quiet, renewable profile. The ability to harvest the sun to keep your critical systems running creates a psychological normalcy and a tactical edge that gold simply cannot buy. When the lights go out everywhere else, the glow of a single LED lamp powered by your own microgrid is a beacon of order in a world of chaos. 3. Zero preparation metabolic fuel. There is a romanticized notion of survival that involves cooking elaborately over a campfire, roasting game, and baking bread in a Dutch oven. The reality of a high-threat disaster is vastly different. It is cold, it is wet, you are exhausted, and lighting a fire might signal your location to people you do not want to meet. In the initial, most volatile phase of a collapse, the ability to consume high-density calories without any preparation is a strategic advantage that is constantly underestimated. Standard pantry staples like dry beans, raw rice, and flour are useless if you lack the fuel to boil water, the time to cook for an hour, or the safety to produce smoke and cooking odors. This is where ready-to-eat RTE foods become priceless. When adrenaline is dumping into your system and you are physically exerting yourself to secure your home or evacuate to a safer location, your body burns through glucose at an alarming rate. You need immediate metabolic replacement to prevent the bonk, that sudden crash in energy that leads to poor decision-making, shaking hands, and emotional instability. Foods that require zero friction to consume, protein bars, peanut butter pouches, beef jerky, pemmican, and nutrient-dense ration bars, act as instant fuel injection for the human machine. They allow you to eat on the move, in the dark, and in silence. This tactical eating capability means you are not tethered to a stove or a fire pit. You remain mobile and agile, which is often the key to surviving the first 72 hours of any major event. Furthermore, these items are the ultimate barter goods for the unprepared. A hungry person might not know what to do with a bag of hard red winter wheat, but they instinctively understand the value of a sealed protein bar. It is a unit of trade that requires no explanation and offers immediate gratification. During the Great Depression and various war zone conflicts, small, portable, high-fat, and high-sugar items always rose to the top of the black market economy because they addressed the primal urge of hunger instantly. Stockpiling these items isn't just about nutrition. It's about buying yourself time and preserving your energy for the heavy lifting of survival. While others are struggling to find dry wood to boil water for a meager cup of rice, you have already eaten, refueled, and moved on to your next objective. 4. Acute pharmaceutical leverage in pain management. If you strip away the veneer of civilization, you quickly realize that human tolerance for pain and illness is the breaking point for almost everyone. In a world without hospitals, pharmacies, or 911 dispatchers, a simple tooth infection or a deep laceration can escalate from a nuisance to a life-threatening crisis in days. This reality makes common medical supplies and painkillers more valuable than bullion. When a disaster strikes, the immediate scramble isn't for gold coins, it's for relief. The ability to stop a raging fever in a child, numb the agony of a broken bone, or treat a festering wound gives you power over the most terrifying aspect of survival, the frailty of the human body. Pain changes behavior. A person in severe pain is irrational, loud, and useless to their group. By controlling a stockpile of analgesics, acetaminophen, ibuprofen, aspirin, and stronger compounds if legally available, you possess the ability to restore functionality to yourself and those around you. Beyond pain, the management of chronic conditions becomes a countdown clock. For a diabetic without insulin or an asthmatic without an inhaler, the disaster has a very specific and short timeline. Supplies that manage these conditions are not just items, they are literally bottled time. The psychological relief of knowing you have a supply of antibiotics or antiseptics allows you to work without the paralyzing fear that every scrape or cut could be a death sentence. In a trade scenario, medical supplies command the highest premium because the demand is inelastic. A person might haggle over the price of a flashlight, but they will not haggle over the price of antibiotics for their sick spouse. This gives the holder of medical inventory immense leverage, but it also requires extreme discretion. Unlike water or food, which people assume everyone has some of, medical caches are viewed as specialized hoards. Being known as the medic, or the person with the pharmacy, can make you a target just as easily as it can make you a savior. The wise survivor understands that these small bottles and blister packs represent the difference between life and death, making them a dense, portable form of wealth that retains its value regardless of what happens to the stock market or the dollar. 5. Contained indivisible energy sources. In the immediate aftermath of a systemic failure, the world's vast fuel reserves become largely irrelevant. The sophisticated infrastructure required to extract, refine, and distribute gasoline, diesel, and natural gas is one of the first casualties of a large-scale disruption. Power outages render gas station pumps useless, pipeline pressure drops, and tanker trucks are either idled or redirected for official use. This is when the true value of portable, contained energy sources becomes devastatingly clear. While others are siphoning gas from abandoned cars or fruitlessly waiting at shuttered stations, the person holding a case of propane canisters, a box of alcohol fuel bottles, or a stash of isobutane cartridges possesses something far more versatile than a tank of gas. They hold a decentralized, independent source of power that requires no external system to function. This autonomy is a form of wealth that cannot be overstated. These self-contained fuels are the unsung heroes of early-stage survival because they offer a direct translation of potential energy into immediate, life-sustaining action. The ability to boil water for purification, cook a meal without creating a large, attention-grabbing fire, or generate warmth in a freezing environment are not luxuries. They are core survival tasks. A small propane stove produces a clean, hot flame with minimal smoke or odor, allowing a family to prepare food indoors or discreetly, a critical advantage when advertising your presence could be dangerous. Similarly, an alcohol stove can sterilize medical instruments, and a simple oil lamp can provide hours of steady light, preserving morale and enabling work to continue after dark. Gold offers none of these practical benefits. It cannot cook, warm, or illuminate. It is a passive store of value, whereas portable fuel is an active tool for living. The true genius of these contained fuels lies in their trade dynamics. Unlike a large jerry can of gasoline, which is difficult to divide and risky to store, small fuel units are perfectly designed for a barter economy. A single 1-pound propane cylinder is a standardized, recognizable unit of value that can be traded for food, medical supplies, or security without complex negotiation. Its value is universally understood. This divisibility allows for discrete, low-stakes transactions, reducing the potential for conflict that often arises from haggling over larger, more valuable assets. As a crisis extends, the demand for these fuels remains constant. People's initial hope for a quick return to normalcy fades, but their need to cook, see in the dark, and stay warm does not. The person who stockpiled these unassuming canisters finds their leverage growing with each passing day, long after the initial panic buying of gasoline has subsided and the pumps have run permanently dry. 6. The tools of human agency and force multiplication. When civilization's thin veneer is stripped away, the most fundamental divide is not between the rich and the poor, but between the capable and the incapable. In a world without functioning supply chains or emergency services, the ability to act, to build, to fix, to cut, to secure becomes the ultimate currency. This is where high-quality, durable hand tools transition from a hobbyist collection into instruments of profound power, worth far more than any inert precious metal. Gold sits in a vault, a passive symbol of wealth. A pry bar, a handsaw, or a well-stocked mechanic set is a force multiplier, enabling a single person to accomplish tasks that would be impossible for many working with their bare hands. This amplification of human effort is the very essence of value in a collapsed environment. The person with the right tools can impose their will on the physical world, shaping it to meet their survival needs. Consider the immediate problems that arise in any disaster. A door needs to be barricaded, a fallen tree needs to be cleared from a path, a broken water pipe needs to be capped, or a shelter needs to be hastily constructed. Without tools, these are monumental, often insurmountable challenges. With a simple toolkit, they become manageable projects. A good axe can produce a winter's worth of firewood, providing warmth and cooking fuel. A shovel can dig a latrine, single-handedly preventing the spread of disease that cripples unprepared groups. A set of wrenches can keep a generator or a vehicle running long after others have been abandoned. These tools do not require electricity, software updates, or a connection to the cloud. They rely on steel, leverage, and human ingenuity, 3 things that remain reliable when everything else fails. Beyond their practical application, tools possess a powerful psychological benefit. They restore agency. In the face of overwhelming catastrophe, the feeling of helplessness is paralyzing. It crushes morale and leads to fatalistic inaction. Handing someone a tool is handing them a measure of control over their destiny. The act of repairing a fence, sharpening a blade, or building a rainwater catchment system is a profound declaration that one is not merely a victim of circumstances, but an active participant in their own survival. This sense of purpose is a critical mental resource. In a barter economy, tools and the skills to use them are premium assets. You can trade the service of a repair, the use of a specific tool, or the tool itself for a high price. A person who can fix things becomes a cornerstone of their community, a vital hub of capability that others come to rely on, ensuring their own security through indispensable utility. 7. The invisible shield of hygiene and sanitation. In the chaos of a disaster, the most lethal threats are often the ones you cannot see. While the immediate concerns revolve around visible dangers like injury, dehydration, and starvation, the silent killer that emerges within days is disease. The breakdown of municipal sanitation systems, sewage treatment, waste collection, and clean water delivery creates a perfect breeding ground for pathogens. It is in this environment that the most mundane items from our former lives ascend to become more precious than gold. Soap, bleach, alcohol wipes, heavy-duty trash bags, and disposable gloves are not comfort items. They are the frontline weapons in a war against the microbial world. A war that, if lost, makes all other preparations meaningless. Preventing an outbreak is infinitely more effective than trying to treat one in a world without doctors or antibiotics. The value of these supplies is rooted in their power to break the chain of infection. A simple bar of soap and the discipline to use it can prevent the spread of dysentery, cholera, and other diarrheal diseases that are a leading cause of death in post-disaster scenarios. A capful of bleach can be used to disinfect gallons of questionable water, purify food preparation services, and create a sanitary zone for wound care. Heavy-duty trash bags allow for the containment and removal of human waste and garbage, preventing the attraction of disease-carrying pests and the contamination of living spaces. These are not passive items. They are active countermeasures against the invisible siege of bacteria and viruses that begins the moment modern infrastructure fails. The historical record is clear. From ancient sieges to modern refugee camps, it is almost always sickness, not starvation, that causes the first and most devastating wave of casualties. This makes sanitation supplies a form of collective wealth. One person's poor hygiene can endanger an entire group, making cleanliness a non-negotiable requirement for community survival. The person who has the foresight to stockpile these items holds the key to group health and functionality. Their resources become a central asset, allowing them to set sanitation protocols and enforce the discipline required to keep everyone safe. In a trade situation, the demand for hygiene products starts low, but skyrockets as the first people begin to fall ill. The fear of sickness is a powerful motivator, and people will trade valuable resources for the peace of mind that a bottle of disinfectant or a box of nitrile gloves provides. Ultimately, hygiene conserves the most critical resource of all, human energy. A healthy person can work, defend, and plan. A sick person is a drain on food, water, and morale. By keeping people healthy, sanitation supplies ensure a group remains strong, resilient, and capable of weathering the storm. 8. The monopoly on actionable intelligence. When the delicate architecture of modern society shatters, the first and most disorienting casualty is information. The internet flickers and dies, cellular networks collapse under the strain, and the familiar hum of 24/7 news cycles fades into an unnerving silence. In this informational void, fear and rumor become the dominant forms of currency, spreading faster and causing more damage than any physical threat. This is the moment when the ability to receive and transmit information independently transforms from a hobby into an instrument of profound power. Simple, off-grid communication devices, such as hand-crank emergency radios, GMRS or ham radio transceivers, and even a set of powerful walkie-talkies, become more valuable than a safe full of gold. They represent a lifeline to reality in a world drowning in assumption and panic, providing the actionable intelligence needed to make life or death decisions. Possessing a functional radio is like having eyes and ears that extend for miles when everyone else is effectively blind and deaf. While others are guessing about the safety of a route, the location of relief efforts, or the nature of a distant threat, The person with a radio can access verified information broadcast by emergency services or coordinate with a network of other operators. This knowledge is not passive. It directly shapes strategy. It allows you to conserve precious energy by avoiding a blocked road, to move your family to a safer location before it becomes compromised, or to learn of a resource distribution point before it's overrun. In a crisis, the individual or group with the most accurate situational awareness holds a decisive advantage. They operate from a position of foresight while everyone else is trapped in a cycle of panicked reaction. This information asymmetry is a form of wealth that directly translates to enhanced security and survivability. Furthermore, communication tools are the bedrock of community and organization. A lone individual, no matter how well supplied, is fragile. A coordinated group is resilient. Two-way radios allow for the establishment of security patrols, the coordination of resource-gathering missions, and the sharing of critical alerts across a neighborhood. This ability to organize turns a collection of frightened individuals into a functional, cohesive unit. In this context, the person who can establish and maintain a communications network naturally becomes a central figure of influence and leadership. Their value is not derived from force, but from their utility as the hub of vital information. They can warn of approaching danger, direct help where it's needed most, and quell the destructive spread of rumors with verifiable facts, making their gear and their skills a priceless community asset. 9. The sovereignty of physical space control. In the anxious minds of those contemplating a societal breakdown, security is often imagined as a dramatic, high-stakes affair involving firearms and conflict. However, the most effective form of security is profoundly less cinematic and infinitely more valuable. The mundane, absolute control over physical access. In a world where emergency services are non-existent, preventing a problem is always superior to reacting to one. This is why simple, robust hardware, heavy-duty padlocks, hardened steel chains, door security bars, window reinforcement films, and basic carpentry tools for barricading quietly appreciates in value until it far surpasses gold. These items are the instruments of proactive defense. They create boundaries and project an aura of difficulty, effectively deterring the vast majority of opportunistic threats without ever requiring a confrontation. A locked gate is a silent but powerful statement that this is not the path of least resistance. The primary currency these tools provide is time. A determined intruder can eventually defeat almost any barrier, but a well-secured entry point turns a swift, silent breach into a loud, time-consuming, and attention-drawing ordeal. That delay is everything. It provides the crucial moments needed to wake up, assess the situation, arm oneself, alert others, or execute an escape plan. Without that buffer, a household is perpetually vulnerable, living on a knife's edge of constant vigilance that is mentally and physically exhausting. The psychological toll of feeling unsafe in your own shelter erodes morale, degrades decision-making, and makes restorative sleep impossible. A simple padlock on a gate or a bar across a door is therefore not just a piece of metal. It is a tool for preserving mental capital, allowing a group to rest and recover, which is a vital component of long-term endurance. From a community and trade perspective, the value of access control hardware becomes more apparent as a crisis drags on. Initial social cohesion may fray as resources dwindle and desperation grows. The need to secure personal supplies in private living quarters becomes paramount. Items that can create defensible space become high-demand commodities. A person with a box of quality locks or the tools to reinforce a neighbor's door has a highly tradable asset. Unlike weapons, these defensive tools are generally non-controversial and seen as a legitimate means of protection. They empower individuals to establish their own sovereignty over their immediate environment, restoring a sense of order and security that is the first thing lost in chaos. This ability to define and defend a space is a fundamental human need, making the tools that enable it a form of foundational wealth. 10. The non-negotiable value of thermoregulation. We are creatures of a remarkably narrow temperature band, a biological reality that is easy to forget in our climate-controlled world. When the grid fails and central heating goes silent, this vulnerability comes roaring back. The relentless, creeping nature of cold is a far more insidious threat than hunger or even thirst. It doesn't just make you uncomfortable, it actively drains your body of the energy required for every other survival task. This is why items that provide insulation and warmth, wool blankets, thermal underwear, high-quality socks, sub-zero sleeping bags, and portable heat sources possess a value that escalates exponentially as the temperature drops. A person shivering uncontrollably cannot think strategically, perform physical labor, or even rest effectively. Restoring core body temperature is not a luxury. It is the prerequisite for all other functions, making these items more critical than gold. The impact of cold is both physiological and psychological. Hypothermia impairs judgment, slows reaction times, and erodes fine motor skills, making simple tasks like starting a fire or treating a wound dangerously difficult. Sustained exposure, even to mild cold, leads to a state of chronic fatigue and depleted morale. This is where high-quality insulating layers and sleep systems prove their worth. A wool blanket or a down sleeping bag creates a personal microclimate, trapping body heat and allowing for the deep, restorative sleep necessary to face the next day's challenges. Within this category, quality footwear and socks are a force multiplier. Mobility is life in a survival scenario, and feet that are cold, wet, or blistered can render a person completely immobile. A dry, warm pair of socks can be a more valuable trade item than a meal to someone whose feet are failing them, as they understand that losing the ability to walk is a potential death sentence. The demand for these items is absolute and immediate. You can ration food, you can sip water. You cannot negotiate with cold. It is a constant, pressing threat that demands an instant solution. People who are warm can plan and act. People who are cold can only react to their own misery. This creates an intense demand in any crisis that occurs outside of a warm climate. From a trade perspective, the value is undeniable. The relief provided by a warm blanket or a chemical hand warmer is instantaneous and profound, making it a powerful bartering chip. These items are durable, require no fuel or complex setup, and provide a direct, tangible benefit that a desperate person will pay almost any price to acquire. They are a direct investment in preserving the body's most essential resource, its own energy.